You're somewhere between 40 and 65. You watch your father slow down. Maybe you felt it yourself. The energy that used to be automatic now requires effort. The mental sharpness that once felt effortless now needs coffee to fake it. You go to the gym. You watch what you eat. You're doing everything right. And yet something still feels like it's slipping. Here's what nobody told you. It's not your effort that's failing. It's the timing. And the biology behind that timing is about to change how you think about every single day you have left. Aging isn't just time passing. Science now tells us it's information loss. Your cells are literally forgetting who they are. And the eating schedule you've followed your entire adult life, 3 meals, maybe a snack, eating from morning until night, might be one of the primary reasons that process is accelerating faster than it has to. Not because the food is wrong, because the timing never gives your body a chance to do what it was built to do when food isn't there. Here's what's actually happening inside you. Researchers now understand that aging is fundamentally an epigenetic problem. Your DNA, the actual genetic code, stays mostly intact well into old age. But the system that reads that code, the epigenome, starts making catastrophic errors over time. Think of your DNA as the most sophisticated music library ever assembled. Every function your body could ever need is in there. The epigenome is the DJ. Young, sharp, flawless. But over decades, the records get scratched. The wrong songs start playing at the wrong times. Cells that were once sharp and specialized start losing their identity. Tissues malfunction. Inflammation builds. That's not a metaphor for aging. That is aging. And constant eating, the kind most men do without ever questioning it, might be dragging the needle across those records every single day. Most men in their 40s and 50s assume fasting is a weight loss tool for people who can't control their diet otherwise. Calories in, calories out. But that's the surface. Beneath it, something far more consequential is happening to your hormones, your brain, your metabolic machinery, and yes, your testosterone. When food is constantly flowing in, your body stays locked in growth mode. Insulin stays elevated. A cellular switch called mTOR, think of it as the gas pedal for growth, stays permanently floored. And while growth feels productive, biologically it comes with a steep price. Chronically high insulin accelerates cellular aging. Chronically activated mTOR shortens lifespan in virtually every animal model ever studied. And here's the uncomfortable question most men never ask themselves. What if never feeling hungry is actually working against you? What if hunger isn't a design flaw, but a biological feature your body desperately needs? Because the moment you stop eating, something ancient switches on, a survival program your ancestors depended on for hundreds of thousands of years. A repair system so sophisticated that a scientist won the Nobel Prize for discovering it. And it might be the single most powerful anti-aging mechanism available to you right now, for free, starting tomorrow morning. The first time you seriously commit to extending your fast, your body is going to protest. You've been in this industry long enough to know what that feels like. The irritability, the shakiness, the brain that keeps pulling you toward the kitchen. But here's what you need to understand about that discomfort. It's not weakness. It's your metabolism switching gears for the first time in years. Think of it as a factory that's been running the assembly line 24 hours a day, finally shutting down so the maintenance crew can come in. Your body runs on 2 completely distinct biological programs. Fed mode. Insulin is high, mTOR is activated, your cells are building and dividing. This feels productive. It feels like progress. But then there's the other program, the one most men over 40 almost never access anymore. Fasted mode. Insulin drops. The gas pedal lifts. A molecule called AMPK activates, making your cells dramatically more efficient. And then the longevity genes wake up. In the early 2000s, scientists discovered a family of proteins called sirtuins, sometimes called longevity genes, and what they found was remarkable. These proteins activate under very specific conditions: low insulin, low blood glucose, and metabolic stress. Conditions that are nearly impossible to achieve when you're eating every few hours. When sirtuins activate, They repair DNA damage. They stabilize the epigenome, helping those scratched records play cleanly again. They reduce systemic inflammation, the same inflammation quietly driving the fatigue, the joint aches, the brain fog that men in their 50s chalk up to just getting older. And for men specifically, reducing chronic inflammation has direct downstream effects on testosterone production. Inflamed metabolic environments suppress the hormonal signaling your body needs to maintain vitality. Fasting addresses that at the root. But sirtuins need fuel to do their work. They run on a molecule called NAD. Here's what makes this alarming. NAD levels decline sharply with age. They also decline with obesity, with chronic overeating, with the kind of metabolic dysfunction that creeps up on disciplined men who are doing most things right but never entering a fasted state. And they rise measurably, significantly, with fasting and with resistance training. When you fast, NAD rises. When NAD rises, sirtuins activate. When sirtuins activate, your epigenome stabilizes. Your cells start remembering who they are. The biological age gap between your chronological age and how your body actually functions starts to close. This is the mechanism behind why men who fast consistently report feeling 10 years younger. Not because they're imagining it, but because at a cellular level, they're partially right. Around 12 to 16 hours into your fast, something else shifts. Your liver glycogen depletes. Fat burning accelerates, and your liver begins producing ketones. Most men think of ketones purely as fuel when carbohydrates are unavailable. But ketones are signaling molecules. They tell your brain, your heart, your muscles that you're in survival mode. And survival mode is protective mode. Ketones reduce neuroinflammation, the same neuroinflammation that causes the mental fog men in their 40s start noticing. They improve mitochondrial efficiency. They activate genes associated with stress resistance and longevity. Every hour you remain fasted past that 12-hour mark, you're sending your cells a signal they were designed to receive, but almost never get in modern life. Now let's talk about the mechanism that actually won the Nobel Prize, because this is where it gets extraordinary. Autophagy. It literally means self-eating, which sounds alarming until you understand what it does. Think of your cells as living cities. Over decades, damaged infrastructure accumulates. Misfolded proteins that no longer function. Broken mitochondria leaking toxic byproducts like industrial smokestacks. Cellular debris clogging up every system. Autophagy is the cleanup crew. Millions of microscopic janitors moving through your cells, breaking down the damaged components and recycling the raw materials for rebuilding. When you eat constantly, these janitors never show up. mTOR keeps them locked out. The debris accumulates. The broken mitochondria keep leaking. And this is one of the core mechanisms behind how age-related disease develops. Not bad luck, not genetics alone, but biological neglect that builds over decades. Your mitochondria are particularly critical here. They're the tiny power plants inside every cell, and they don't last forever. They accumulate damage. They become inefficient. They start producing excessive free radicals. Think of it as biological rust, oxidizing and degrading everything they touch. That's the fatigue. That's the slower recovery after workouts. That's the energy that used to be automatic. Autophagy, specifically a subprocess called mitophagy, clears out those damaged mitochondria. Fresh ones are built. Energy improves. Oxidative stress drops. Men who've been fasting seriously for years consistently report the same thing. Recovery improves, performance improves, and the energy they thought was just gone with age starts coming back. There's hard biology behind that experience. Now let's handle the fears directly, because men in this audience don't respond to vague reassurances. Fear number 1, fasting kills your metabolism. This is based on a fundamental misunderstanding. Short-term fasting triggers a rise in norepinephrine. Metabolic rate doesn't drop. In many cases, it temporarily increases. The slowdown people fear is what happens during prolonged starvation, which is physiologically the opposite of what intelligent fasting does. Fear number 2, You'll lose the muscle you've spent years building. Growth hormone rises significantly during a fast, specifically to protect lean mass. Your body preferentially burns fat and uses ketones to spare muscle protein. Combined with resistance training and adequate protein in your eating window, the research is consistent. Lean mass is preserved, and the pulsing between growth and repair actually optimizes how your body responds to training. Many men report that their strength didn't drop. Their body composition improved. Fear number 3, it's unnatural. Actually, 3 meals a day is the aberration. Humans evolved through periods of feast and genuine scarcity. Movement followed by rest. Cold followed by warmth. Hunger followed by eating. Some researchers call it metabolic winter, the periodic low food states that appear to have been biologically necessary for triggering the repair systems we've been discussing. We've engineered all of it out of modern life. And the men who intentionally bring some of it back are seeing results that no supplement has been able to replicate. Think about the men you know who are 60 and look and function like they're 45. There's always a pattern. Consistent training. Disciplined eating windows. Not obsessing over food around the clock. It's not genetics in most cases. It's behavior that happens to align with the biology we've been talking about. And now you know why it works at a mechanistic level. Here's the question worth sitting with tonight. How many hours was your last eating window? Because if it was 12 hours or more, your body may not have entered repair mode in days. If you're waking up tired despite sleeping. If your workouts feel harder than they used to. If the mental sharpness you had at 35 feels like it's behind a pane of glass. This is one of the most direct levers you can pull. Not a supplement. Not another protocol. A window. A deliberate, consistent space between your last meal and your first, long enough for your cells to stop building and start repairing. Drop your current fasting window in the comments. Whether you're doing 16 hours, 18, OMED, or you're just starting out, share it. The men in this audience have decades of real-world experience between them, and that's worth more than most studies. If this reframed how you think about aging, share it with one man you know who's fighting the same battle. Because the biology doesn't care how old you are. It only cares what signals you're sending. And now you know exactly how to send the right ones.